Lifetime's Dear Christmas proves that the art of filmmaking can survive this global pandemic, as long as said films are conspicuously devoid of any crowds, kids, or in this case, conflict. The one thing required in any successful story. Melissa Joan Hart plays Natalie, a holiday-themed relationship podcaster who may finally discover a love of her own in a Twilight Zone Christmas ghost town where there's always a party silently happening in the next room, children only exist in photographs, and any non-essential actors are literally phoning it in. So kick back and let's enjoy some cocktails that look like they're designed to make you sick and another socially distanced dose of clip breakdown. Hello television viewers, my name is Nick. Thank you so much for joining me once again on my channel for another installment of Clip Breakdown, a jingle jolly jolly edition, baby girl. This is the playlist where we dive into our favorite movies, TV shows, TV movies, television shows, moving pictures. Those are all the same thing. And we rip them apart like they're your brother's new girlfriend so that we can look at each little tiny bit and judge it individually and unfairly. We've got a great show tonight, but first make sure you give this video a big thumbs up if you want to see even more clip breakdowns just like this. It really helps support the channel. What if I was just fake? And it would mean so much to me if you could just click that subscribe button right down here. No, but for real, please click subscribe because I upload 2 new videos every week, and if you click the bell button, you'll always be the first to know when I put a new video in an envelope and mail it off to Santa's Village. Oh, and also, if you're into merch, I've got merch. Stickers, bags, and tags. Get them now while they're hot. They'll be delivered room temperature. When I first started watching Dear Christmas, I was just ready to settle in and enjoy a millennial tale of Melissa Joan Hart being a podcaster. That's irrelevant. I listen to podcasts. Shortly after, I realized, oh, this movie doesn't have any people in it. And also, it doesn't seem to know what a podcast is. Look at this blue kombucha, by the way. It's blue spirulina. It tastes gross, but I love it. Great. So it opens with Natalie finishing up episode 1 of her Christmas edition of her podcast, Holiday Love.
In part 1 of this Dear Christmas episode, we explored all the trappings of the Christmas season. Cutting down the tree, drinking hot cocoa, putting up the lights, decorating the house, the ugly sweater party.
Ooh, she just leaked the entire list that Lifetime uses when they're writing these movies. Good thing they cut her off before she got to the part about getting advice from a black friend, or they would have had to replace her with a lizard person clone, like Hallmark did with Lacey Chabert. That's why her eyes look crazy in these promo photos. It seems like this podcast is about holidays and love specifically, which to me doesn't sound like enough to make a whole podcast about. There's only a handful of holidays in a year, right? Anyway, we'll see what she's trying to do with it.
It's the perfect backdrop to fall in love. But is it love or is it the season? Are you really falling in love or are you just in love with Christmas? Maybe when the snow melts, you'll fall out of love and it's over like a seasonal allergy.
Funny you should say that because your podcasting voice does sound weirdly nasally. Melissa Joan Hart was like, I think podcasters sound like this. What is it about Christmas that makes us all horny for ornaments? Natalie mentions that for episode 2 of her Christmas edition of Holiday Love, she'll be live streaming the episode from her childhood home in Lake Utah. They were like, can we call it podcasting and make it just a radio show? Oh, I think I touched upon having a black best friend before, right? Let's meet her.
Natalie, you have the #1 podcast in the country. I want to keep you happy. So anything I can do to make you even happier, let me know.
Anything?
Have you ever had sex for money? This woman, Penny, is Natalie's friend slash boss at the podcasting studio where she works. When I'm watching this movie the first time, I'm still not thinking about quarantine restrictions or lockdown or any of that. But I was like, okay, why aren't they showing us this party? Because Penny is like, aren't you gonna come back to the party? And then Natalie's like, well, I've got some gifts. Can you help me wrap them? And it's like, isn't there a party going on? Okay. That's when it started to get weird for me, as I'm like, why are they always doing things that aren't going to the party that they just talked about? And in my head, I'm like, can't you just not mention the party? Like, you could have written this scene so that there's no party happening in the other room and I wouldn't have even had that weird thought. Through their conversation, it becomes clear that although Natalie podcasts about love and does it well, she hasn't had the luxury of finding any love for her own Christmas vagina.
Hey, maybe this Christmas it's your turn to find true love.
Oh yeah, I can already feel my heart beating.
You should have been able to feel your heart beating anyway, Melissa. Sometimes I swear the screenwriters aren't even listening to their characters talk. I can already feel my heart beating. Good, then I guess I'll pack up this defibrillator I got you. It's time for Natalie to get on the road to her hometown from Chicago all the way to Lake Utah, Nevada, which is literally a day and a half drive. She says that it's 12 hours, but Alexa told me that it takes a day and 5 hours. But I guess she doesn't want to fly? Why wouldn't she just fly? Oh, she needs to have some car trouble that they didn't bother to shoot. We get all of this exposition through a recorded phone call with Natalie and her sister.
Where are you now?
Just leaving Chicago.
Where are you now?
Getting close. Uh-oh.
What's that sound?
I think it's my tire. I'm gonna have to pull over and check it out. So, roadside assistance is on its way, but it could take a while.
Just call me.
Emma? Hello? Ugh, battery.
Tonight's episode of the Telephone Talkie Radio Hour was sponsored by Streets. They said, listen, audience, we don't got the budget, you don't got the time, we don't have the immune system for any of this. You love podcasting so much, we're gonna podcast the whole conflict on the first act. Natalie is waiting for roadside assistance at a Christmas shop, but luckily, she has some inanimate objects to keep her company.
You're not the only ones hanging around. Funny meeting you here. Any plans for Christmas? Me neither. Guess we're just a bunch of lonely hearts.
Really? Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like just one lonely lady talking to an ornament she saw. Also, you do have plans for Christmas. You're going to your parents' house to, like, look at the tree and stuff. Don't lie. Like, again, you're just saying stuff. You meant you don't have a to on Christmas. That's a whole nother problem entirely. A hand-blown glass ornament is not gonna help you there. Finally, roadside assistance arrives, and hunka hunka hunka. He's a hunk. Say that when you like someone. Hunka hunka hunka. Her vaginal temperature just spiked, you can see it. She said, no, my car's not overheating, that's just steam radiating off my pubic mound. This mysterious roadside stranger is gorgeous to Natalie, and played by Jason Priestley. We don't know his name yet, but I had such a crush on Jason Priestley ever since I was born, I guess, until this day. He's hot, okay? And he looks good in this Christmas movie. I'm like, Look at those piercing blue eyes. He's here to help Natalie.
There's some hot cocoa in my truck. Why don't you call your parents?
Okay, fine, but only because I know AAA gives me a free month of roadside if I get murdered by one of their drivers. As usual, people be passing around hot cocoa here like it's the elixir of life. Don't you Lifetime and Hallmark movie ladies ever get tired of drinking your calories?
Ooh. Ooh, that is some good hot cocoa.
Is this woman perpetually podcasting? Because she's been talking in an empty room since this movie started. You need some friends, mama. It's time to meet Natalie's family. They're all there, and they're all dusty.
Drive safely.
She just had some car trouble.
Did you say car trouble? Did she get in an accident?
Natalie is fine. Randy, honey, you worry too much.
Yeah, she just got into a stranger's vehicle and she's drinking whatever liquid he had in a thermos. Settle down, Dad. If you thought we were done talking about hot cocoa, you're an idiot, and I've got nothing else to say to you. Let's talk recipes.
This is the best hot cocoa I've ever had.
It's the cinnamon.
No, it's something else. Hot pepper flake.
Oh, you got it. Don't tell anyone, though. It's my secret ingredient.
It's not that secret. I can taste it.
Oh, did you want me to slash this tire I just finished changing and let you freeze to death? Because I will. Hot pepper flake in hot chocolate. I don't get it. I don't know nothing about it. I don't like it. These Hallmark and Lifetime movies always try to like work in little recipes and craft ideas from their blog. I swear. It's like, oh, today we're making snow globes out of baby food jars. And then they'll show you the whole thing. Or in this movie, they also have like a bunch of drink making kind of recipes that don't look right. After he changes the tire, this gentleman says, I'll see you later. It kind of gives me the same vibes as The Undertaker in Final Destination.
I'll see you tomorrow.
You sound pretty sure about that.
Pretty sure.
Like, the only reason that doesn't seem like an ominous threat is because of the music. Watch.
You sound pretty sure about that.
Pretty sure.
He's about to peel your skin back and put it in an air fryer, honey. You gotta get in that car and lock the door. Finally, Natalie makes it home after driving for 13 days. They try to make it seem like this house is not decorated for Christmas.
I drove right past the house. Where's the inflatable Santa? Where are the candy cane lights? And where's our Christmas tree?
We've been real busy with the bookstore, honey.
We have someone coming to put up the lights.
Why are we acting like the inside and outside of this house aren't covered in lights? Tell your Keebler elf-looking mother this is a lot of lights for most tax brackets. How come they were able to wrap those two trees in lights and put lighted garland everywhere, but they couldn't put up a Christmas tree? That doesn't make sense. They're like, we've been so busy, so we just did 90% of the work. I don't know if this whole movie was sponsored by some sugar cookie brand, but they be passing around these decorated desserts like they're candy, I guess. Cookies, because they are.
They're so good.
Emma, you are glowing.
Maybe for the next scene, we can edit around Natalie choking down cookie crumbs in real time. She's like, I think my character would have a glass of milk, and the director's like, I don't think so. That doesn't feel authentic to Natalie.
So how's the bookstore doing?
Jimmy Fallon was just in for a book signing.
Ooh, did he love your perfectly identical coils of hair? Did he call you Grandmother Slinky? This moment was weird to me, but then I just saw this morning that Jimmy Fallon had tweeted he wanted his name to be used in Lifetime Christmas movies. So Lifetime went ahead and used his name in like a bunch of movies this season.
You'll never guess who the buyer was. Jimmy Fallon.
They don't call me the Jimmy Fallon of Maple Grove for nothing.
Jimmy Fallon works with Santa?
Throughout this whole movie, Natalie's parents, the dad is played by Ed Bakley Jr., by the way, they won't let her stop thinking about getting married, falling in love, meeting her high school sweetheart, to have casual sex, or whatever. You straight people are wildin'.
Look, I know you guys are worried about me, but I'm really happy with my career, I'm really happy with my life, and I'm really happy to be home.
And all of that would be enough if you weren't a woman. So why don't you crank down the volume on your podcast talking and open up the valve on those fallopian tubes, sis? The sister is pregnant. Isn't one grandchild enough for your Christmas feast? Can't you put that baby in the oven and leave Natalie alone? The mom is the witch from Hansel and Gretel after she gets a jar of La Mer. The whole movie, they're like, let's show that the parents are super duper in love and it won't make you queasy.
It was true love.
Yes, it was. Mwah.
What kind of dialogue will show the audience happiness? No dialogue, just open mouth grinning and silent throat laughter. Because Natalie asked her listeners to send in videos about their stories of true love, we have some prime opportunities for cameos. First up is Jamie and Doug Hefner from Married at First Sight. I didn't know who these people were until I read something on Lifetime.com, but I knew something was weird by how bad their acting was.
I'm the kind of person who's always looking for signs. I was on my way home from a business trip.
She was offered a job that would move us away from each other.
I wasn't sure if we were going to stay together or break up. We hadn't even said I love you yet.
And then her plane was delayed. She arrived in the middle of the night.
And there he was, holding a sign. All it said was, the love of my life. And in that moment right there, I knew it was true love.
I'm glad that's what you got out of the story, because I got lost back at the flight being delayed. Why did you tell the part about your job being changed? That didn't matter. Why do straight couples think however they meet, it's a story? We were at P.F. Chang's and he spilled his beef and broccoli on me. So what's your point? Boring people with high blood pressure sniff each other out? Also, this poor guy Doug does not know what to do with his hands, so he's doing the most. He said, "Whoa, the flight got delayed and that put the cherry on the sundae, mama." Sometimes your arms are just by your side. Not me though, I talk with my hands. I'm like, hi, can I hold the baby? Natalie and her sister, whose name I don't know and doesn't matter, they're going through her boxes of old stuff and she has journals from every single grade. Basically, she'll like have someone's name written with a heart around it, and then the next day it'll be crossed out, showing that this girl really got around with her crushes. Her schoolyard crushes were off the chain. I love that this character's whole life has been defined by her wanting to fall in love and not by, I don't know, her love of journalism. The next morning, Natalie wakes up to some noise and it ends up being the guy from the tow truck installing the lights in her house. Is this destiny starting to form? It might be.
Told you I'd be seeing you today. I want to border every window so when it's lit up, it looks like the house is smiling. Nice pajamas. Still here.
Still here looking at your no bra boobs. I love Natalie for waking up with perfectly curled hair and foundation on. She says, sometimes Christmas is about having clogged pores, and that's fine. The parents are Christmas fiends. Like, they cannot get over the fact that it's Christmas.
And bring him a Christmas donut.
These are the best Christmas donuts.
Don't say that unless they're actually oozing with the hot blood of Christ. What makes a Christmas donut a Christmas donut? Is it just the shape? Because I see a tree-shaped donut there. Then how is it the best Christmas donut? It's the most Christmas tree-shaped? Is the donut eggnog flavored? Because then you would just say eggnog donut. These movies just call everything a Christmas, Christmas, Christmas. Oh, Natalie, these are the best Guy Fawkes Day Quaaludes. Natalie brings the man out some coffee and we finally learn his name.
You really don't remember me, do you? We were an 8th grade band together. Chris Massey. Nice to see you.
Chris Massey. Yeah, you look really different.
Did you go through some sort of trauma in your 30s, or do they just not have Botox here yet? Because this movie has like 0 supporting side characters, no cute little kid to run around, the parents get a lot of screen time. It's a move.
Honey, come meet us when you're done hanging the lights.
Well, I'm not hanging the lights, he's hanging the lights.
You've both done a wonderful job.
Everything looks very Chris Massey.
Oh, Randy.
Come on, let's get to the doctors before these stool samples freeze solid. I didn't get it the first time this part of the movie came up, but his name sounds like Christmassy. So Chris Massey, that's why they call him Mr. Christmas, okay? A nickname that only works for like 1 month out of the year. Good for you. So we've got a podcaster who's unusually obsessed with Christmas, and then a gentleman whose name is Christmas. This feels like destiny. Natalie actually has to help this guy hang up the lights, and I would be pissed. I'd be like, aren't my parents paying you to do this? You knocked on my window and riled me out of bed on my vacation to hang up your lights and put up your little Santa? It's a no. You're the one on task, Rabbit. I'm not here to help you. You know, my publicist was right. These tiny red bows on my hand do make it look like I'm actually holding a book. That was some art director's Hail Mary. They were like, that book looks really photoshopped. She said, look, some sticky bows. Also, there's no continuity between this wide shot of the street and the front of this store. The store, in this close-up of her going in through the door, looks like someone's front door that they just put gift wrap on the window. And then in this scene, a customer comes in that you don't even see. You just hear the bell and she's like, oh, there's a customer. I feel like this movie must have been shot pretty early on into quarantine because they don't have the use of any extra, like it feels really sparse, the whole story and the settings. More so than other quarantine shot productions I've seen since March. The weather looks pretty warm, so it's probably summer. Natalie has to go next door to drop off a gift basket, and even though this restaurant is closed, she just walks on in and takes a seat so that she can look at some of these new videos that are coming in.
We were running a marathon.
We're both very competitive people. We've been training for a year.
When I pulled a hamstring.
She wanted me to finish without her.
Then he picked me up in his arms and he carried me the rest of the way to the finish line.
Oh, so this story is from like many years ago? Because I would ask to help that guy to his car if he were carrying a bag of dog food. Natalie just starts working at this place she doesn't belong, and she gets one of those customary check-ins from the boss back at work. Natalie's very efficient. She managed to update her boss's contact photo with a still from the very movie that she's in right now. This further supports my theory that Dear Christmas takes place in a fractured multiverse. And I don't even know what a fractured multiverse is. It's just something I said just now. Oh, to make this part make sense, I should let you know. When she was going through her journal last night, Natalie saw that in the past her favorite song was Up on a Housetop, which is nobody's favorite song as a child.
Up on the housetop, reindeer paws, out jumps good old Santa Claus for the little ones' Christmas joys. Ho, 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 who wouldn't go? Ho, 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 who wouldn't go?
Whatever it is, it's getting closer. Run, Clarissa explains it all. Also, I don't know if Jason Priestley is really singing in this scene, but I'm gonna guess not, because that singing voice sounds like it's coming from a short man with curly hair. Different. Also, I love that they left in a clear shot of Melissa Joan Hart saying something that they just decided to mute completely.
Ho, 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 who wouldn't?
She said, oh, Jason Priestley. The two lovers-to-be start catching up.
Am I following you, or are you following me?
Neither. I just came by to drop off the gift basket. The door was unlocked, so I just walked in.
And then you started podcasting as though this were your abandoned cafe. Chris is there preparing for a holiday sing-along that's happening later. Spoiler alert, we never see that. This movie always takes place right before or right after a group event.
You know, my sister-in-law and all the teachers she works with, they love your podcast. Actually, I've downloaded a few.
You listen to Holiday Love.
Yeah. It's really good.
I find the narrow topic and pretentious things you say really help prevent unwanted boners at the gym. As they're talking, it turns out that when Natalie was traveling as a young journalist in her 20s, Chris was also traveling with the Peace Corps, the Marine Corps, or something. Whatever part of, like, the army is that you don't have to shoot people, that's what he's in. He also shares a sad story about how his brother died.
Yeah, they were cuties, but that was 10 years ago. They're teenagers now. Look at them. Anyway, I moved back here so I could be a better uncle to them. I do dress up as Santa every year.
Even now, aren't they a little old for Santa?
You're never too old for Santa.
Actually, 11 or 12 is the age for most kids. Although for another 3 years, give or take, they might feel 5 to 10% residual happiness when they see a vintage Coca-Cola ad. But don't worry, by 15, 16, it's dead. No more spark in the eyes, lifeless soul. If this movie were shot at any other time in history, those two annoying-ass kids would be all up in this place being like, I love Santa Claus. But because we can't deal with kids or crowds right now, we just get their pictures on a cell phone. They don't even give us a close-up of that phone. I'm, as an old lady, supposed to be watching and being like, yup, visual confirmation, he could be a good dad one day. We're good. There are some weird editing moments in this movie. Like, gosh, they really needed this movie to be 90 minutes long. Hell or high water.
Finding true love is like finding a unicorn.
That would be my experience.
Yes, really take your time with that sip of wine. That's very natural. The parents actually told Natalie to go cut down a Christmas tree, and she was like, okay, I'll just grab my axe. Hi-ho, silver. I couldn't chop down a tree, and I built this whole house out of logs. While they're in the woods, Chris's niece proves that she's real by calling in for some relationship advice, and he's like, oh, I've got the love expert here to talk to you.
Hi, Julia. If I'm gonna talk to your niece, you're gonna go find my family the perfect tree and cut it down.
Finding love is like picking out a beautiful Christmas tree. You have to let it find you. And when you find the perfect one, you'll know.
And when I say Christmas tree, I'm talking about your uncle's dick. Is that clear? Okay. Also, try letting a Christmas tree find you. See how that works out. Just try it, Melissa. Trees are rooted in the ground. Oh my gosh, I'm so dumb. I'm supposed to have my Christmas tree up right now. It's been ready to go for weeks. That's why I've had this command hook here. Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas. There's a birthday party at the home of Farmer Greg. He has got a missing eyeball and a wooden leg. Do you guys like my tree? It's flat and it hangs up straight against the wall. And I nearly forgot to put it up when the time was right. That's crazy. I just chopped down this tree my own self too. Natalie is the only one in this scene who seems to understand how epic it is that there's a man in the house who's not her father.
Nice to meet you, Mr. Christmas. You gonna bring my sister a present this year?
Me watching this movie and making it gross. I am the sister. Let me slick my hair back like that. Oh, I'm 9 months pregnant. Ugh.
I've been seeing these glass hearts everywhere. Perfect.
Stop staring lovingly up at that tree like it's your precious Mexican border wall. It's a tree with some ornaments, not baby Jesus spitting up magic fruit punch or whatever. Next we have more cameos. These are some actors. I cannot remember who their names are, but they're from another TV show as well. Ugh, I hate this.
I got deployed the following day and I accidentally lost her number.
I went to the same Christmas party the next year. There you were, in your cute little uniform, looking handsome. We had like 2 very romantic weeks before you took off again.
Wow, thank you so much for your service. Can you wrap up this story now? I try not to listen to depressing around the holidays. These two just go on and on and on.
I was really hoping we were going to be together. He's at the door. Hi!
Yeah, what she doesn't know is in a few days, we'll be at that same friend's Christmas party. Except this year, it'll be an engagement party.
Did you send me your present? Is this a flight confirmation? Are you coming home?
Just in time for Christmas, baby.
I love you so much.
If you loved me, there would be real tears in your eyes. Why are these iPad love stories so long and stupid? Like, how come she had to go answer the door and then he told the secret and then she came back and got a different surprise that wasn't the proposal? I thought it would have been cool if like he was FaceTiming from his phone and then the doorbell rang and it was him arriving there and she's like, oh my God, you surprised me by being home. And then he proposes on the spot. Then it's like, oh my God, we're watching something magical happening right before our eyes. But instead they made it this confusing roundabout delivery of an airplane ticket. Also, who answers the doorbell this way?
Hi.
Hi. The door is like, hi, what? Because this movie has such a thin plot, I thought it would have been so easy to use a device that would carry us through some of these longer sections. Like, how come instead of her working on the second episode of her podcast for the whole movie, she's not like putting out an episode every day of the week for the week before Christmas? That would help me understand what time it was before Christmas. I would see her processing all the new information she's getting every day and if relating what she learned from these little iPad love stories to her experience here. It's socially distanced and it gives us a little bit more of what's in her brain. She could be like, today I talked to a young girl who reminded me that love wasn't always so easy to understand. And sometimes at Christmas times, I feel the same sense of confusion I did when I was 16. You know, like, come on, give me that. And then you can still have these cameos. Maybe those are people at home listening, you know, like they're listening in or they're reacting to the episode that she just put out. That is kind of more like the Truman Show. So we get a feel for these people, but they can still have these cameos. Do that next time. It's finally time for that crazy sweater party that we're never gonna see.
Party time! Oh, you are so gonna win the ugliest sweater.
Too bad there's no prize for craziest hairstyler. You take that one too, Mom. What in the Xenon hostess honey buns, tendrily tongly tongs are, what is this? The hairstylist said, I think your character's a little kooky, so let me just roll!
Where's the food? We're supposed to be delivered by now.
Oh, there they are.
Who'd you get to cater this shindig?
Oh, the firehouse. You boys love their fried chicken.
You guys have to let me know. In some places, this is really a thing where you can get the firehouse to make food for your party, because they talk about it like that's a normal thing. I've never heard of such a thing. What's for dessert? The cops come and execute us by firing squad? Natalie answers the door to get the chicken, and just like he predicted the night before...
You've got to be kidding me.
I'm just standing here with some chicken. You're the one dressed like a school librarian on the last day before winter break. After he delivers the food, they both get to work making some of the Christmas drinks for the ugly sweater party. I don't know if this was like something they needed to make the movie the right length, or if it's all just product placement for whatever album that is that's playing and on the tray. These are some interesting looking cocktails, that's all I'll say. I'm not convinced about peppermint and lime being in the same drink, but at least the drinks are done and we can get back to the movie. Okay, so we're good with the pouring drinks now, because I'd really like to get back to the movie. Oh, come on, we've already seen him cutting the limes. Now you're just stalling because everyone at that ugly sweater party is wearing a Trump hat. Yeah, that didn't age well, did it, you dummies? I don't see why they keep forcing these parties in. Why not just show a family that happens to not be having a bunch of parties and events all year? Like, she could be caught up in helping her parents with the bookstore, because at the beginning they were like, we haven't been able to decorate, we're busy with the bookstore we just opened. So maybe she's like, oh, okay, I'll take care of Christmas, you guys just work on your store, and then Christmas, Mr. Chris Massey is just gonna help her the whole time. And that's why she's missing the parties. It's like, oh, they have a big party at the bookstore. I'm gonna make the drinks and serve them or whatever. Instead, they keep doing this thing where she's like never at the party that she's supposed to be at.
Right up there, if it was a clear night, you'd be able to see a really bright constellation.
Right there?
No, like right there.
Whatever you just did with your fingers indicates a clear desire for intercourse. I'm sort of a body language expert because I spend so much of my time judgmentally squinting at people.
I should probably get back to the party. Well, thank you for making this Christmas party a little more fun.
Natalie, you won the ugly sweater contest.
You haven't been in the room for the whole party, so I just described verbally how much your ugly outfit looks like. Natalie is still gathering inspiration for her Christmas podcast when the sister and her go Christmas shopping for some more distraction.
Home of the glass hearts. These are the first things I saw when I came back into town.
Wait, it looks like they make them out the back.
Can I help you?
Are you kidding me? What about all your other jobs?
I only do those side gigs to support my art.
Well, I mean, you're a volunteer firefighter, so unless they're letting you sift through the rubble for broken glass, this isn't supporting your art. Yes, our man is a glass blower. He works with the hot glass of the world.
My mom is a nurse in New York City, so I made one for her. The other nurses loved it so much, I had to make more. And then I just kept making them, and they became a way to say thank you to all the nurses and first responders.
Of course, I do use some of the profits for my living expenses, so a portion of each purchase goes directly towards paying my pornography subscriptions. Unless they donated a box of shattered glass hearts to every hospital in this country, I don't think they're doing their part. We have, I don't know, a 5-minute scene of them going through the whole process of hand making one of these glass ornaments. Now, I like glass blowing, I think it's fascinating, but they have a whole Netflix series about it. I don't need this sequence. I don't need this sequence. You don't need this sequence. And the only people who do need this sequence are glass artisans looking for a shout out. I see you out there, you glass workers in Brooklyn. You've been trying for years to infiltrate my Hallmark Christmas movies, my Lifetime festivities, and now you're finally showing up on my doorstep trying to sell me handcrafted ornaments. I won't have it. Now, when it comes to setting up my own glass blowing studio, should that be a real or artificial tree on the carpet near the blazing open furnace? Let me know. He's like, I'll see you tomorrow. She's like, you seem pretty sure about that. And then he invites her to the fireman's ball. I think you mean volunteer fireman's ball? Just kidding.
He's an artist. All those other jobs are just to support his art. Isn't that cool?
This is nice.
Yeah, well, you already have one of those, Mother, because you handed it to me to hang on the tree a few scenes ago. Can you please eat a cup of Activia? We need you focused. Focus up. At certain points, I can't tell if they're joking or if they really think that this girl is their teenager.
I was kind of hoping you would stay home and keep an eye on your sister.
No, I'm fine. I can take care of myself, and Billy's on his way.
Okay, you can go to the ball.
Thanks, Mom and Dad, for letting me get laid by the guy who hangs up your Christmas lights. That's not a weird thing to do when you're home visiting your family for Christmas, but most people don't ask. Christmas vacation is like the Olympic Village for your hometown weirdos. They're just waiting for you to come back with your low standards and easy access to alcohol. Careful now. Natalie is literally just about to get out the door when the sister's stupid 9-month pregnant belly has to act up.
I'm not going into labor tonight. The baby's not due for 2 days.
Ooh.
That fetus heard you and said, this is gonna be a great opportunity to work on my comedic timing. Blorp. Blorp is the sound of a baby breaking the water of the womb. That's what they do. They do a little twist. Blorp, now I'm being born. And then they twist out of the birth canal. At least I did. I was like, good morning, sunshine. We finally meet the sister's husband for the first time. He comes home just in time to take her to the hospital so that Natalie can run off to the party, this party. I mean, I feel like you would want to be with your sister while she's giving birth, but obviously we can't do a hospital scene. It doesn't matter. By the time she gets there, there's nobody else conveniently in the whole place. So they just dance alone in an empty room. And I think I'm noticing the missing people more because they keep ending up in places where there should be more people. That's it. Like if they could write around these situations and it wouldn't be an issue. Christmas can exist without all these fancy parties. I rarely go to a Christmas party on a normal year. The fireman's ball is clearly a very touching thing because the next day Natalie's walking on air.
She is running off to see him, isn't she?
Of course she is.
This family system is toxic. Stop speculating about your daughter's emotions and keeping tabs on her whereabouts. Mom here has a Mrs. Claus complex, and they painted Ed Begley Jr. with a singular shade of beige house paint. In what is thankfully the final video testimonial of two people falling in love, Natalie gets a very special message from her boss who, before all this, Natalie had encouraged to give a chance to the HR director she had a crush on.
For the last 5 years, Hank has worked for me as my human resources director, and I asked him for consent to have an office romance with him. I learned this Christmas that true love doesn't happen fast.
And sometimes true love is a man who at first glance looks like a fancy grandmother. Or true love has the hair of an eccentric orchestra conductor. It is Dear Christmas. We're like seriously 15 minutes from the end of this movie and there hasn't been a single conflict yet, other than I guess Natalie trying to figure out if she's in love or if this is Christmas feelings getting her all caught up. This needed to be reestablished multiple times throughout the movie. Like basically anytime they had one of these winter love testimonials on the iPad, she should have been reaffirming for me that this was what her trip was all about, trying to dissect the feelings of love we have and the feelings of Christmas. Or if all of the video testimonials were about people who found true love around Christmas, but then it lasted, that would help me solidify that like she's looking for evidence that when she's feeling these things, it's real and she's not just caught up in the holiday. But instead we get this kind of cheap.
Just give me 1 star.
This guy is like, you don't need a star, honey. You need a Neutrogena face wipe because you were just sleeping in a full face. If there is a Santa, he needs to bring some Pond's cold cream for Natalie. The next morning, the whole family's looking at the newborn baby whose face you can see and it's plastic. So great they could get the same baby from American Sniper.
Oh, you're a natural.
Thank you. As a volunteer firefighter, I've pulled a lot of these out of buildings, but they're usually way more burnt. This is the closest we get to a third act conflict. It's a very mature conversation in a summer setting.
Look, Chris, be practical. It's easy to fall in love during the holidays.
But not true love.
We're not teenagers. We didn't fall in love at the prom.
It was the fireman's ball. And for the record, my crush on you started in the 8th grade. Maybe true love does take time.
Maybe, but I mean, at this point, who gives a f? Up on the housetop, no one cares. This white lady is so scared. Again, this movie is completely missing a conflict. Like, this would have been a cool time for her to have to choose between the podcast that she's worked so hard to make successful and this love, this relationship that she's experiencing. I think it would have been cool if he didn't know she had a podcast or had never listened to it, and then the one time he does listen to it or find out about it, he hears her podcasting about their relationship. And maybe she accidentally divulges something a little too personal, like about his brother dying, and then that makes this tension come up and it shows the audience that, oh, she might have to make this choice between her career and her love. The stakes would feel higher to me because it's like someone's emotions are involved. After this conversation, Natalie is clearly upset. This was basically a breakup, only they've only known each other for 3 days, so it's not as big of a deal.
I'm fine.
except for the fact that they're making you eat an entire soft-baked sugar cookie in every other shot of this movie. I didn't know it was an option to have that written into your contract, but it's good to know. Like always, it's time for Natalie to get some sage parental advice.
But in the end, it was all happening so fast. You know, and I didn't see any stars.
Did that help, sweetie? This movie has like too much symbolism and metaphors for me. Like the stories about the love are always confusing. She's talking about seeing stars, I think because of the constellations he was showing her. But I can't keep all of these story elements straight. It's really messy. Natalie's just about to go on for her live Christmas special when her dad gives her an old diary that she hadn't seen yet. And she opens it up to discover
True love does take time.
it doesn't just form overnight like my holly jolly hemorrhoids. As soon as Natalie gets on the air, you can tell she's a little tongue-tied.
You know, we cut down cookies, we bake trees, we stuff wreaths and wrap stockings.
Uh-oh, she's having a Yuletide stroke. Quick, someone put both her feet in a fruit cake and have her suck on a candy cane.
Is she rambling?
She is so rambling.
I got this.
Okay, tell our story. So I met this guy named Chris and we're both into nipple play. When it gets time to tell her story, Natalie finally finds the words.
You know, I've been so busy asking everyone else about true love that I had stopped looking. But then it found me.
Like one of those sentient Christmas trees that you told a teenager about earlier. God, you suck at advice.
Yes, I'll say it, Mr. Christmas. I love you.
And I knew it was true love from the moment I saw the stars.
Right, so 2 seconds ago. Also, no one listening to your podcast knows what you're talking about right now. Chris drives over to their house after the show and blah, 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 blah.
It's not an engagement ring. It's just to show you how I feel about you and to let you know I think we have a future together.
Just you, me, and my secret pill addiction that you won't find out about for another month. And that's all she wrote. I hate that I don't know what is solving these conflicts. Like, she still lives 2,000 miles away. Is she moving from Chicago? Is she gonna podcast remotely? Like, none of these solutions came to fruition. She didn't quit her job. She didn't change that much. She basically loved Christmas and didn't have love. And then she found love, but she wasn't sure about it. Weak story. Lame story. Not enough things going on. And you don't need big party scenes or crowds of people to make a Christmas movie. I just watched Happiest Season with all of those people on Hulu. It was so good. And it was also a really contained movie. I don't know when they shot it, but they didn't have a lot of extras. A small amount, but they had a bigger budget. So I don't know. Let me know what you guys thought about this Christmas masterpiece, Dear Christmas, and let me know what other videos I should cover next. Also, give this video a big thumbs up if you want to see even more clip breakdowns on Lifetime Christmas movies like this. But most importantly, if you're new to my channel, I would love to have you click that subscribe button right down here. That way you never miss new videos from me. I upload 2 new ones every week, so turn on notifications and you'll always be the first to know when I'm coming down the chimney. Also, check out my merch. Don't put it on like this. You guys are all the greatest. Thank you so much for getting into the Christmas spirit with me once again. Look at my tree. Oh no! I'm repotting this plant. Someone told me I should, so I'm doing it. You guys are all the greatest. I will see you next time.